All right, welcome to this explainer. Today, we're taking those incredibly dense, highly technical manuals and transforming them into an interactive daily training module. Look, if you're a junior crane operator stepping into a busy construction site, consider this your ultimate survival guide. Proper mobile crane inspection isn't just about blindly ticking boxes for compliance. It's literally your daily lifeline for saving lives and preventing catastrophic accidents out there. So we're going to build your foundation of safety right here, right now, going through exactly what you need to know before you ever make that first lift.
Here is our quick roadmap for today. We'll start with pre-inspection setup essentials, move into physical component visual checks, tackle performance and safety testing, and finally wrap up with proper documentation and compliance.
Okay, let's jump straight into Module 1, Pre-Inspection Setup Essentials.
Now, obviously, you're bringing your hard hat, your safety glasses, steel-toed boots, and high-vis gear. But proper inspection really starts with gathering your manufacturer-specific forms and checking out the site conditions. And I mean manufacturer-specific for a reason. You absolutely need to know the specific model variations of your crane, because a 40-ton crane from one manufacturer is going to have completely different inspection points than a similar capacity unit from another company.
So here is your step-by-step setup checklist before you even head outside. First, verify that operator certifications and local site permits are valid and actually up to date. Next, you have to cross-reference your specific configuration's load chart. Why? Because your lifting capacity changes dramatically based on whether you're set up on outriggers or if you're operating on rubber tires. And finally, check the weather forecast.
Why is checking the weather absolutely mandatory? Well, because if wind speeds hit above 20 miles per hour, boom inspections become incredibly dangerous. Not only that, but high winds completely ruin the accuracy of your operational load tests. If the wind is howling past that 20 mile per hour threshold, your entire safety protocol is essentially compromised before you even turn the key.
All right, time for our first knowledge check. Let's see if you're ready for the field. Do you know the exact industry standard certification you need to verify before anyone operates that machine? Take a second and think about it. If you said NCCO, the National Commission for the Certification of Crane Operators, you nailed it. That is the industry gold standard. And remember, you must always physically document these certification numbers along with their expiration dates in your daily records to ensure total site compliance. Move in right along to Module 2, Physical Component Visual Checks. Out here, you are officially hunting for structural integrity issues. You want to start by checking your outrigger float pads for any cracks or damage that could cause them to slip while under load. Then, carefully run your hands and your eyes over the boom sections. You're scanning for any hairline cracks around the weld joints and pin connections. Pay special attention to the boom base connection because that spot bears an enormous amount of stress. Honestly, even a minor dent there can create a stress point that leads to severe cracking down the line. When you're examining the wire ropes, use this quick mental reference guide. If you spot bird caging or crushing, that immediately implies severe overloading or improper handling. If you see broken wires, that means you need to start counting them to see if you've hit the replacement threshold. And if you run across dry ropes, you are looking at a very high risk for internal corrosion. Proper lubrication is absolutely essential here.
Let's keep training your eyes, specifically looking at wire rope terminations. Compare a properly seated wedge socket, which should sit perfectly flush with zero visible gaps, against an improper one. The bad one will show misalignment, or worse, you'll see wire rope strands actually pulling out of the wedge. If you see strands slipping like that, stop right there. That is a critical failure point just waiting to happen.
Okay, time to test your knowledge again, this time on rigging hardware. The load hook takes on immense stress. Keep in mind, some of these blocks weigh thousands of pounds when they're totally empty. So what is the absolute maximum the load hook's throat opening can expand before its structural integrity is totally compromised? The magic number here is 15%. If that throat opening exceeds 15% of its original manufacturer dimension, or hey, if you spot a safety latch that doesn't automatically close and sit flush without gaps, that hook is entirely unsafe. It has to be replaced immediately. No exceptions. All right, let's climb up into the cab for Module 3, Performance and Safety Testing. These systems right here are your non-negotiables. You must test them every single time. Verify your load moment indicator, or LMI, for capacity limits. Check your anti-two-block system. Test all the emergency engine shutdown switches.
Confirm that the hydraulic lockouts respond instantly, and make sure all your audible backup and load alarms are actually loud enough to be heard over heavy site noise. When you're performing operational load testing, you absolutely must use certified weights that meet ANSI and ASME standards. And you don't just lift the max load right out of the gate. You have to step it up. You start at 25%, then 50%, 75%, and finally 100% of capacity. At every single stage, you hold the load for a minimum of 5 minutes, while closely checking the boom for any deflection that goes beyond manufacturer specs. While you're in the cab, don't forget to check the engine and hydraulic fluid levels. Low hydraulic fluid can cause pump cavitation, and trust me, that is disastrous during a lift. You'll also want to test your remote joystick controls to make sure there's no erratic behavior or lag. And carefully verify that your LMI accurately calculates the load during a test swing. Here is your final cab testing pop quiz. If the system is functioning perfectly, what exact disaster does the anti-two-block system prevent? Think about the top of the boom and where the load block sits. Yup, it literally stops the hoist dead in its tracks so the load block never smashes into the boom tip. If that contact ever occurs, you're looking at an immediate, catastrophic structural failure that will drop the load and endanger everyone standing below. All right, final stretch, Module 4, Proper Documentation and Compliance. You know the old saying, if it isn't documented, it didn't happen. Proper documentation is absolutely mandatory. You have to capture precise measurement data, like that 15% hook throat opening we talked about, and take clear photographic evidence of any defects. Every single finding must be cross-referenced with your official manufacturer's service manuals. Leave absolutely nothing to guesswork. A lot of sites today use tablet-based apps to automatically log GPS coordinates and timestamps, which makes audits super easy. But here is the most critical action step for you. If you find a severe deficiency, immediately slap a bright red "Do Not Operate" tag on it. Then implement a physical lockout/tagout. That means physically removing the keys or locking out the controls so nobody can accidentally fire up an unsafe machine. And there's a much bigger picture to this final documentation step. Keeping these detailed daily checklists actually gives you the superpower to predict maintenance needs. By tracking wear trends through historical data, you can spot a failing hydraulic seal or a fraying wire rope weeks before it turns into a massive site-stopping failure. Which brings us to our final thought for this explainer. Proper mobile crane inspection isn't just about meeting regulations, it's about protecting lives. As a junior operator stepping into this incredibly vital role, are you truly prepared to be the ultimate guardian of your site every single morning? Remember, your attention to detail in the field could quite literally save a life today. Don't just tick boxes. Own the safety of your site. Stay focused out there, stay safe, and I'll catch you in the next one.